The story begins in the year 1975. A young girl named Jean Grey sits in the back seat of her family's car. Her parents are driving through a peaceful road, listening to soft music. But Jean isn't enjoying the song. Something about it irritates her. She asks her mother to change it. Her mother gently says, "When you're older, you can pick the songs. For now, this stays." Frustrated, Jean grows agitated. Suddenly, the radio malfunctions. The air inside the car thickens with tension. Without realizing it, Jean's emotions begin to affect the physical world. Her powers, dormant until now, awaken. The steering wheel jerks. The car swerves violently, and then chaos. The vehicle crashes head-on. When the dust settles, Jean survives. Miraculously, she has no injuries. Not even a scratch. But her parents, they're gone. Doctors are baffled. They can't explain what happened. That's when a calm, kind man enters Jean's life, Professor Charles Xavier. Charles gently approaches the scared girl and tells her the truth. She's a mutant, someone born with extraordinary abilities. He offers her a place in his school, Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, a home where people like her learn to harness their powers. Jean is reluctant. She doesn't understand what's happening to her. She's scared, but Charles assures her, "Your powers aren't a curse. They're a gift, and you can choose how you use them." Eventually, Jean accepts the offer, and from that day, her life changes forever. Years pass. Jean grows up in the school, learning, evolving, and becoming one of the strongest X-Men. She forms deep bonds with her teacher, with fellow mutants like Cyclops, Scott Summers, and with the team she calls family. The world, once hostile to mutants, has started to embrace them, thanks to the heroic efforts of the X-Men. They're no longer viewed as threats. They're celebrated as protectors. One day, a distress call comes in from NASA. A space shuttle carrying astronauts has malfunctioned. The government reaches out to Professor Xavier. Without hesitation, Charles sends his best team: Jean, Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, Beast, and Quicksilver. Together, they board the Blackbird jet and soar into space. The team arrives near the shuttle. It's tumbling uncontrollably in the orbit. A mysterious, fiery solar flare is moving rapidly toward it. The astronauts are moments away from being vaporized. Time is running out. The X-Men spring into action. Nightcrawler teleports aboard the shuttle, grabbing crew members and bringing them back. Cyclops uses his optic blasts to stabilize debris. Storm creates freezing blasts to seal breaches. Quicksilver zips through the shuttle, pulling people to safety. It's teamwork at its finest. But one astronaut remains trapped, and the flare is closing in. Jean volunteers to hold the shuttle together with her telekinetic powers, keeping it intact long enough for Nightcrawler to retrieve the last man. The plan works, but at a terrible cost. As the last astronaut is saved, the fiery cosmic force collides directly with Jean. She is engulfed. The flare swirls into her body, completely absorbed. Jean floats motionless in space. The team believes she's dead. But suddenly, her eyes open. She's alive. Back on Earth, Jean wakes up feeling different. Stronger. Faster. More alert. Her powers are heightened. Her telepathy and telekinesis are on a whole new level. But something's off. She can hear thoughts she shouldn't. She feels memories returning, memories that were buried. At a celebration at the school, Jean loses control. Overwhelmed by the voices and visions in her head, she collapses. Charles and Beast examine her, realizing that something is wrong. Something powerful and uncontrollable is now living inside her. Charles confesses, when Jean was a child, he placed mental walls in her mind, barriers to block the trauma of losing her mother and the full weight of her abilities. Now those walls are gone. The truth is rushing back, and it's devastating. Jean wants answers. She discovers that her father is still alive. Charles had hidden this from her to protect her. Furious, Jean flies to her old home and confronts her father. But when he sees her, he recoils. He doesn't want her there. He never wanted her back. Jean's heart breaks. The rest of the X-Men arrive, trying to calm the situation. Mystique steps forward, trying to reach her like a sister. But Jean's emotions explode. Her powers flare uncontrollably. She unleashes a shockwave, and Mystique is struck, impaled, and killed. Jean, horrified by what she's done, flies away into the sky. Back at the mansion, the team is shattered. Beast breaks down in anger and grief. Mystique was more than a teammate, she was family. Beast blames Charles for all of it. For the lies. For hiding the truth. For pushing Jean too far. Beast leaves Xavier's side, swearing he'll fix this, his way. Meanwhile, far away from Earth, a new threat approaches. An alien race called the Bari, whose planet was destroyed by the same cosmic force now inside Jean, arrives on Earth. Their leader, a cold, calculating figure named Vuk, takes human form. Her goal, find Jean Grey, steal the Phoenix Force, and rebuild their empire. Back at the mansion, the team is shattered. Beast breaks down in anger and grief. Mystique was more than a teammate, she was family. Beast blames Charles for all of it. For the lies. For hiding the truth. For pushing Jean too far. Beast leaves Xavier's side, swearing he'll fix this his way. Meanwhile, far away from Earth, a new threat approaches. An alien race called the Bari, whose planet was destroyed by the same cosmic force now inside Jean, arrives on Earth. Their leader, a cold, calculating figure named Vuk, takes human form. Her goal, find Jean Grey, steal the Phoenix Force, and rebuild their empire. Jean Grey has vanished. She's grieving, alone, frightened of what she's become. Her emotions spiral, and her powers continue to grow beyond anything the X-Men have ever witnessed. Meanwhile, Beast, mourning Mystique's death, breaks ranks. He no longer believes in Xavier's decisions. He secretly reaches out to Eric Lencher, better known as Magneto, who is now living in peace on the isolated mutant island of Genosha. Together, they form a plan to find Jean and stop her, no matter the cost. Jean, still confused and desperate for answers, turns to Magneto. She arrives in Genosha, pleading with Eric for guidance. But Magneto can sense the instability in her aura. He asks what she's done. Jean admits she hurt someone, but doesn't say who. Then, without warning, military helicopters descend on Genosha. The government wants Jean in custody, but Jean isn't going anywhere. With a flick of her hand, she rips the helicopters from the sky, crushes metal like paper, and almost kills the soldiers. Magneto steps in and stops her, barely. He tells her to leave. She's not safe. For anyone. Elsewhere, Vuk, the alien leader, tracks Jean down. She approaches her with calm, deceptive compassion. Vuk tells Jean the truth. Her body absorbed a cosmic force, one that annihilated her own planet. That power is called the Phoenix Force, and Jean is now its host. Vuk manipulates Jean, pretending to help her understand her gift. She strokes Jean's ego, feeding her belief that Xavier lied, that the X-Men fear her, that only she, Vuk, truly sees her. Under her influence, Jean begins to lose her humanity. The alien power inside her pushes her further from the girl she once was. Back on Earth, Charles and Cyclops track Jean's location to New York. They take the X-Men to confront her, and Vuk. But Magneto and Beast are also there. What follows is a chaotic battle in the heart of New York City. The mutants clash in the streets. Cyclops fires his optic blasts, Storm summons lightning, Magneto manipulates metal. Buildings shatter, cars are tossed like toys, and the city becomes a war zone. In the chaos, Jean lifts Charles Xavier from his wheelchair, levitating him in front of her. He tries to reach her mind. He pleads with her. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are still Jean. At that moment, time seems to pause. Charles allows Jean into his mind. There, she sees everything. The memories he hid, the pain he tried to protect her from, and the love he's always had for her. It softens her. Jean, shaken and vulnerable, flees the scene. She knows now that Vuk is lying. But it may be too late. The government, terrified of mutant power, detains all the X-Men and Magneto's group. They're placed on a train, drugged with mutant suppressors, and headed to a secret military base. But the danger isn't over. Vuk and her alien army ambush the train, slaughtering soldiers with brutal efficiency. Their goal, reach Jean, extract the Phoenix Force, and use it to reshape the galaxy. One by one, the mutants awaken and break free of their restraints. They begin fighting back, X-Men and Magneto's followers united against a common threat. Nightcrawler teleports guards to safety. Storm electrifies entire cars. Cyclops lays waste with his blasts. Magneto bends metal around the invaders like cages. The entire train turns into a battlefield. But Vuk is unstoppable. She cuts through every defense, growing closer to Jean. Jean, drugged and weakened, awakens in her containment cell. Charles begs the soldiers to release her. She's the only one who can stop what's coming. Hesitantly, they obey. Jean rises. Her hair begins to float. Her eyes ignite. The Phoenix is reborn. She flies through the train, incinerating invaders with a flick of her fingers. Time and matter bend around her. The entire sky glows with red energy. She's no longer just Jean Grey, she's something more. Then comes the final confrontation. Vuk and Jean face off in the sky above the speeding train. Vuk tries to absorb the Phoenix force. The power crackles between them. Jean screams, not in pain but in resolve. She's made her decision. She won't let the Phoenix destroy anyone else. She grabs Vuk, soars into space, and lets the power fully unleash. A monumental burst of energy explodes across the sky. In that single moment, Vuk is vaporized and Jean is gone. Days pass. In memory of her sacrifice, Xavier's school is renamed the Jean Grey School for Gifted Youngsters. Charles retires, leaving the school in the hands of Hank McCoy Beast. He knows it's time for a new generation to lead. In the final scene, Charles sits quietly in a Parisian cafe. A familiar face joins him, Eric Lencher. They don't argue. They don't fight. They simply sit across from one another like old friends, remembering a girl who changed everything. As the camera pans upward, far above the clouds, a fiery shape forms in the sky. A glowing phoenix. Jean Grey may be gone, but her